What's going on, guys? It's Brian from Sinister Gaming. Just wanted to give you an updated post-AGOV Labrynth tech profile. Uh, there is going to be a good amount of changes just because there's quite a few new additions. Some are way more obvious than others, and I took this to a couple tournaments, took this to a 3v3, ended with a 4-1 record, and ended up splitting first/second with my team. So that was pretty nice, and that's a personal record also, 4-1. And then we also got first place at just a locals we went 5-0. So let's just get straight into it. So far, I don't think there'd be any changes that I'd make. So far we have the 3 Ariana, pretty obvious there. And then we have a new addition on some of the higher levels. So we got our butler, our lovely, and our 2 lady. So we're only on 1 butler just because, well, it doesn't really fix the problem with the deck currently. And the issue is trying to fight back when your Labyrinth cards do not resolve, like Big Welcome and Welcome. So all this really does is give you more recursion. It kind of acts like a second coup clock, so in a way that you could actually replace this for a second coup clock, but it is nice having access for the level of just to facilitate Chaos Angel plays with Ariana, which does come up sometimes. It is a nice addition though, so I can't complain, but I don't think it's justified to warrant at 3 yet, unless you're always losing die rolls and play a lot of normal traps. Of course, yeah, the other 2, Lovely and Lady, are pretty solid as they are as far as the ratios. We're still on the 3-3-1 lineup for the furnitures. Nothing more to really say, just because I would think that just from all the games that I played, a second coup clock is also an option if you wanted to drop the butler for it. Just because DD Crow is really relevant right now. A lot of people are DD Crowing this or Lovely. So definitely want to play around with that. But so far, I mean, as long as coup clock's resolving, I feel like you're in a good spot. But it does suck to lose it out on the grind game, but I would say losing Lovely is way worse. And then based on some of our extra deck choices, we do have some monster techs. 2 are the same from last time, and we have 2 new additions to act as kind of like a power play in a way. So we have the Kelda Medora, which stays the same from last time. It's broken in every matchup other than Fluwanderies, and technically it could come up if they go Ostrich effect. So yeah, these are honestly never coming out. If you see it, you basically win with a furniture. Even normal summoning this in passing with like 3 back row isn't that bad. Worst case scenario. And then Fenrir obviously is probably one of the best staple monsters right now in the game. We're not maxing out on 3 just because space purposes, and it's not the whole point of the deck. Like, it slightly conflicts. Well, it doesn't really conflict, but you mainly just want to pitch this off of furnitures when you add, and it's 100% the imprint bait for your Arianas to resolve. And on top of that, I'll just get into something from the X deck later on that you can use this to easily summon, and I'll explain that in a minute. And then just to wrap things up, we're gonna have the hand traps here. So as far as these ratios, you know, they've been working out pretty well. I don't really have any adjustments for these. Of course, you have your furniture nib combo as nib chainlink 1, furniture chainlink 2 to clear out the whole board. Imprim's just very generically good card. And then, you know, Ash is Ash, so you need to have something for the mirror and branded. And then starting to get to our spells, we just play the same 4. The Labrynth, and Extra. Labrynth has been going a little bit better for me, or just performing a little bit better, just as games are starting to get a little bit more grindy. As we see decks like Unchained and Rescue Ace kind of rise to the top, even though Rescue Ace does have a lot of gas on the first couple of turns. If they don't resolve the field spell, I feel like you're going to have a better grind game in the end if you can push through their board, which this deck typically can, just with a lovely Labrynth and like a set back row. So very nice. Of course, we're on 3x draft because we're playing Furniture. For our Labrynth normal traps, we're still on 3-2. No adjustments really needed for this. We don't miss the third welcome. You're always going to be able to set it from the graveyard. So still need to get those ultimate rares. And then we're still rocking the 4 normal trap lineup. You could argue to play Eradicator in the main for the Butler. I just think that's a really greedy play, as the odds of you seeing those together, and it just seems pretty slim, honestly. And you still need a monster to tribute with it. And Butler itself can't even, resolve Eradicator. So we're still rocking these. Of course, you need D-Barrier for purely when you're going first or second. When you use why I say going second is because you can stun your opponent using D-Barrier by playing in their draw phase, by setting it with Lovely and then coup clocking them in their draw phase. So you basically shut them out for 2 turns. So which is obviously really nice, and that's kind of like the way you beat purely in other decks like that. Ice Dragon's Prison for Unchained. Tears just to outfield spells and pesky back row. Probably the worst of all of them, but still kind of needed. And Karma Cannon for, it's probably the most flexible and helps your effects resolve under Imperm and stuff like that. Okay, so going to the extra, this is one of the reasons and new additions to the deck that makes Fenrir a little bit better too, is the Typhon. So Typhon is an excellent addition to the deck just because it's, for one, it's Fiend, so if you're locked into Welcome Labrynth, you can summon it. Just be aware that this is going to be your last summon if you commit to it. You can slap this over Fenrir and still keep your Ariana. That way you can still resolve Big Welcome Labrynth very freely with Lovely to pop. You can just bounce your Ariana. Also, this just gives you such a great matchup, or at least a fighting chance against decks you wouldn't have otherwise if you had no interruptions, or you just drew like a very hand trap or a Furniture heavy hand. So you can just slap this over anything, and you can beat like, as an example that comes to mind is like Branded and Vanadium. So this actually prevents players from using monster effects. So that means that they can't Mirror Jade send for cost at all, they can't blow up, and then you can always compulse the Mirror Jade, and of course that's not going to trigger because it's in the extra deck. So this is just honestly, I think this has more of an influence of the way the deck is played moving forward than Arias for now, as Arias or the Butler seems better when we get transaction rollback. But yeah, moving forward, this is definitely the way you want to focus on playing the deck as one of the additional cards in your toolkit. Just be aware that you cannot use your Lady Labrynth effects while this is up, so you do kind of need to be mindful of that, and just try not to make the mistake of cheating under that, because neither player can use that. Okay, and then for the synchros, you can see that I actually cut the Psychic end, of course, because I still don't have access to the 3rd Chaos Angel, but that's fine. We have other additions in the extra deck, but yeah, Chaos Angel is really nice for OTKing and clearing boards. For our links, we have our first link, which is Lingaribo. If Rescue Ace is still doing the Ibly lock, this is usually how you can beat them like 90% of the time if they Ibly you, because you're trading 1 for 1 on their traps. And then we have a few Link 2, so I'm just gonna go a little bit, break them up a little bit. So here's like most of the removal ones. Azalea is mainly for if you don't want to discard off of this or this, but don't mind losing the body. Which I would think in Labyrinth you're usually okay with not losing a body. So pretty nice. This was a little bit better when Arise Heart was legal, but that still comes up every now and then. And then we have Dark, and I'm just gonna showcase it with one of our other new additions, SP Little Knight. For one, you can reborn your opponent's SPs to it, and then SP is just another meta-defining card. I'll be honest, I just pulled this, so I haven't gotten to use this yet. Well, in theory, you would want access to this, but totally not a necessity if it's a budget constraint. So yeah, you don't have to play this if you do not have it, but I would 100% recommend to run it, even though it's not a fiend or anything like that. And then for our last Link 2s, we have the 3 Muckracker, which of course you're going to use to recur your lovelies, to make your big welcomes live, and of course set your normal traps again. And this is just really nice versus certain matchups like Unchained and stuff like that. If for some reason they get rid of the Monster Reborn, although this can't be used as a link material, the turn it's summoned or at all, the turn it's link summoned, you can actually put Typhon over this if it's the highest attack monster, which is really nice. Just be aware that that it must be the highest attack monster when you're using the Typhon. So of course this is a necessity at 3 as well. And then lastly, we just have our Goddess, which comes up, honestly it hasn't really come up, but you do want the option if you cannot get access to Cannon in your main deck, or perhaps you side it out and for some reason, you just don't have access to it. So this is an alternative to that. In the side deck, we previously ran 3 Druis Worm, but now we're on Magnema and 2 Druis. The idea was 3 Druis was specifically for Unchained. Now it does work against other matchups, and it's arguably the best Bestial right now. However, it's a hard once per turn, so we needed a little bit more push against decks where the actual banish effect is going to be really relevant rather than the just on-field effect to send. So that's where Magnema comes in. Getting Talanced on Druis is way worse than getting Talanced on Magnema. Like if you're going second and your opponent goes first and they Talents you after using this, because you're gonna always get one resource out of this on the end phase, and it just works like way better with Big Welcome, since of course you could just keep getting multiple Druises, and yeah, this is gonna help especially during the tier matchup and like Dragon Link, where you're gonna grind a little bit more and you're not gonna get OTK'd or pushed through or ran through. So with the other cards in our side deck, we can handle the Unchained matchup pretty well. So yeah, that's why we ended up just dropping the Druis Worm down to 2 and went back to Magnema, which is a really nice call, honestly. And then we have, just to complement that a little bit, we do have 3 DD Crow for flexibility. You can play this against Purely, you can play this in the mirror match, just to try to interrupt Lady Labyrinths in the mirror. This is pretty good against a lot of decks too, just like Infernoble and stuff like that. So definitely want to keep testing this out. I haven't really seen it too much, but when I do have it in my hand, it's usually really good. So I think everyone is kind of on this in the mainer side, so just be very careful about your coup clock, as I mentioned before. And then we have 3 Lord. We're still rocking 3 Lord, just for the fact that everyone's on Lightning Storm and Thrust. Still people on that, and then of course in the Unchained matchup, this protects all sets, so your opponent must play like double extender or normal summon extender or tour guide to kind of play through. They can't Shavara pop their set monsters, they can't Shavara pop their set traps, they can't use the other one that summons from the hand to pop one at all. So this card's practically like a staple at the moment and not cuttable at all for me. Worst case scenario is a 3k beat stick that gets you whatever you want to your engine. Another going first card, we mainly use that Lord going first too. We're not going to use it going second against Unchained, even though it does have a pretty good effect. But yeah, some of the other going first cards are the Called by, Lightning Storm, and Eradicate. Called by, Eradicator, and Full Force Fighters. So the Called by, of course, is it was previously in the main, but we cut it because, well, I've been going second a lot, so this is more of a bias of me just losing die rolls and stuff, and I'm just trying to find utility in the main deck. So if you're like me and don't have the best luck in die rolls, I would really recommend this build in general. And then of course Eradicator for most matchups and Full Force Virus for Vanquish Soul, because we do have to respect that matchup, just because they have a lot of cards to tag out and ruin your lady set with their bouncing effects or just chaining their quick effects. So that's very relevant, and you can also side this against like Fluunderies and even Unchained, because this pops from the hand and all the monsters trigger from the field. And this hits everything except I think like one monster. Even if you hit Shavara, the red dog, it's fine, because it's just going to set one from the deck, and that's just going to result in either a reborn or a pop. And then lastly, we're on board breakers, which is a little bit weird for Labrynth, but yeah, Duster's still just pretty ignorant. You're going to side it against every matchup, including like Rescue Ace, the Mirror. I know I said that, I know it's slightly contradictory, as the Lord is, you know, I'm using it and I'm saying to side board breakers. I mean, but if they don't see the Lord, this is going to be good in the Mirror. And it's going to be good against Rescue Ace, and even just random matchups where you know they're going to set 1 and 2 imperms or possibly a Floodgate. Like I side this against Vanquish Soul 2, just because I already know they're going to preemptively side TC Boo, or if they didn't have it in their main, or if I didn't see it in game 1, like it's probably in their main deck. So you're going to side this in against like 90% of matchups. You could argue Lightning Storm as well, just for the flexibility. But yeah, Lightning Storm is also just to pop like the DDD King Caesar. I don't really care about Rage adding back and Yama specialing back something. It's practically irrelevant. You just want to have the Caesar off the board, so that's why this is in here. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Like I said, the deck moving forward is highly based on playing Typhon and using it correctly. Like I had summoned this in the 3v3. Honestly, it didn't really perform that crazy just because of the matchups. But it did kind of give me a fighting chance in games where I was just outright going to lose anyway. So kind of it let me grind a little bit, see where I was going. Unfortunately, it didn't take me that far in the games that I lost for that. But on the flip side, when I played against like locals and stuff, I had summoned this so many times, because you can use it against Unchained to protect protect that 3000 popping guy. I forget the name of it. It's one of the main deck monsters. It has a really good effect. You discard one on summon and pop one card on the field non-targeting. So it stops that, and then like at the worst, this is kind of like it's like a Wabaku in a way. Like they're gonna have to waste their battle phase to out this worst case scenario. So definitely insane new addition. Slap it on Ariana. Like it just adds so much more interaction to your deck, and I think you need to run 3 moving forward. But yeah, that's the deck, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And then if you have any feedback on the build, let me know as well. I still would like to test the multiple Butler out, but right now I think one's pretty good for me. Yeah, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.